So good morning again, everyone, and welcome to the second session of our Generation S Virtual Summit, Creating Sustainable and Smart Savers. This session is called I Am, and I think by this session title in and of itself, we can see exactly what we're going to talk about, which is the development of personalities. Today, we are going to talk about identifying some of your spending habits and spending traits and your saving habits and saving traits as well in efforts to capture who you are as a saver, because we're really trying to really interested in creating smart, sustainable savers. We want to equip you with the tools, as we said last week. We want to equip you with the tools to be able to go forth in this life as a financially responsible person. So I want to thank everyone who participated last week, and I see that we have some new faces new names in the participation box today. So those of us who are new, and that would be Dejon and Deshawn. So Dejon and Deshawn, if you could just introduce yourselves to everybody. Just state your name and how old you are. Probably what school you go to as well.
Hi, my name is Deshawn. I am 10 years old and I go to Salava Trace Government Primary School.
Nice to have you, Deshawn.
Hi, my name is Dejan and I'm 10 years old.
What school you go to?
Point 14, RC.
Great. Welcome. Thank you all for joining. So last week's session, I think it was fire. If you all think it was fire, you could just indicate in the chat. You could say yes or no, because I think we really started to get the understanding of what the credit union is all about and how we can help you achieve a healthy financial future. And if you missed last week's session, because we know we have some new people in the chat as well, it is available on our YouTube channel. I'll post the link in the chat when we come to the end, or if you want to go on YouTube and search after this though, don't stop this session to go and read the recording, because we're going to delve into some really interesting and great topics here today. So it is available for viewing on our YouTube channel, or should be by now. But if not, after this session, I will go up and I will fix it up and we'll see it on YouTube from later today. Right. As we go on into the following sessions, we really start to break down the concepts of financial reality, financial responsibility, as well as the concept of financial literacy, because we really want you not just to be able to be a responsible adult, but we want to equip you with the tools, as I said, to be that responsible adult. So last week we touched on tips on how to build a financial future. So this week we go further into it. And personally, I'm looking forward to this session, because we really start to get to understand ourselves as savers and as spenders, but also we as the YDP start to understand your saving habits. And as we go forward, we'll talk more about how you actually feel about saving and what it entails for you. And we'll also provide you with tricks to continue to navigate your spending so that you can navigate your financial reality. Great. So let's just get this moving along. I'm just sharing my screen. Everybody good? Anybody tired? Anybody have a long week? How's school going for everybody?
Doing good.
Yes, sir. Going real good.
Good.
I'm going real good. Yeah.
Honestly, just stressful for me.
Oh, what happened? Digital school now?
It's like I'm Form 3 and doing 18 subjects. And like all the teachers sending work, like it's only them teaching here. So it's like plenty work. But I'm still doing good, getting good grades soon.
Yeah. That is good. I'm glad that you're coping, and I'm glad that you're doing well. And I know it's hard, I know it's difficult. I want to commend all of you for doing digital school, because I am a digital student myself now, and I am also struggling. And I really have to commend you all. You all are doing a lot more work than I am, and it is really difficult. So again, commendations to everyone, especially those who have written exams. I can't imagine. Well, I'll figure it out at some point in time in the next couple of weeks. But this difficult exams, I don't know how we get through it. But we are here for you in any way that we can be, and we want to wish you all well as we continue to navigate virtual school. All right, so as I mentioned in today's session, we will look at financial literacy. We'll look at your saving and spending habits, and we'll also define your personality type. Now, these personality types are not hard and fast. They have personality traits, and we'll get into it when we go down the line. But we really just want you to start to figure out who you are financially and how to develop your saving and spending habits. So some questions to think about. And like I said last week, so for those of us who are new, I'm not going to say that there may be a prize at the end of the summit, but there may be a prize at the end of the summit. So start to think about these questions. Every session, I will start with a couple of questions that you should think about. And we really want it to be as participative as possible. This sets the tone for today's presentation. So when you think about questions such as what is financial literacy, what is saving, you also look at how you view money. And I know those concepts may be a bit difficult for you in your varied age ranges to kind of figure out yourself. But we just want you to be as open and honest as you can be about how you feel, how you look at things, and how you actually determine these things, because it will help us at the end of the day know how to equip the tools to you. So we have a little game that we're going to play, and this is called picture charades. Anybody ever played picture charades before?
No, sir.
Okay, all right.
No, sir.
All
No,
right.
sir.
So what I'm going to do, just to explain the rules of the game, I'm going to show you 3 categories. And each category has 3 clues. The 3 clues will be on screen. You're using the clues to figure out the category. And I can tell you the categories. One category is a movie. One category is a movie or film character. And the last category is a board game. So start to think about those concepts now, right? So we're going to jump straight into it. These here are the first clues for the first movie. So we're going to guess the movie. Anybody, one person, raise your hand.
Avengers.
Oh, okay, somebody jump out the gate and say Avengers one time. Great. So the answer was Avengers. And we can see here is Captain America shield, the Avengers symbol, and Iron Man fist. And let me tell you something. The Avengers are one of my favorite films. Favorite films. I've seen every one, even the standalone films at least twice. It's really great. Right. So we're going to guess the movie character now. Think of these clues. Tell me somebody from the film. If you could think of the film. I see a hand raised. Yes, Amisha.
So I guess then Frozen, huh?
Okay, so Frozen is the movie, but tell me a character from Frozen.
Elsa.
Oh, Elsa. Okay, anybody have any other guesses?
So I'm also thinking for either Elsa or the snowman. I can't remember. It's Olaf.
Oh, somebody got the answer correct there. The answer is Olaf. When you think of the clues, you think of the snow, you think of the man, think of the Frozen symbol here, right? So the answer was Olaf. Now we're going to ask you to think of a board game. So who can tell me from these clues, what is the board game? I see a hand raised, Diamond.
Monopoly.
Oh, Monopoly. Any other guesses?
Ludo.
Somebody said the answer. The answer is Ludo. And I know that Ludo had a big craze last year when we had the mobile app launching. And a fun fact about Ludo and any other of those cross-circle games, it's actually developed from an Indian game called Pachisi. It really is the same concept. You throw dice and you move across the board to get to the end. So the last one is still the same board game, but I want to see if I can figure this one out. So, I gave already the answer. Oh gosh. All right, so everybody saw the answer.
Yes, sir.
All right, that's all right. So if we look at the clues, we can see is the house. So, you have the 2 houses, green and red. This is the dog. This is an actual photo of the dog. It's one of the most popular pieces for the Monopoly. And this is, who can tell me what this part is? The last clue.
Boardwalk.
Nicely done. Nice. It's boardwalk. And everybody knows that's the property everybody is trying to get because the charges the most rent. It is the most lucrative, which is really just the most exciting and expensive property you have to buy. All right, so let's get into the topic for today. We start to think about financial literacy. And I know the term itself, financial literacy, we may not know it, but anybody can take a guess as to what we mean by financial literacy? You never know, it might be on the screen right now. I see a hand raised. Go ahead, Amisha, your hand is raised.
Well, sir, I think financial literacy is a matter of how people spend their money and how they don't know how to spend their money.
And essentially, literally, basically, that is exactly what financial literacy is. To be financially literate, it really means that you know how to manage your money responsibly. Now, managing your money is not necessarily a skill that we are taught. We don't have classes behind it. And oftentimes our parents don't even know how to have those conversations with us because we have never been exposed to it from a practical standpoint. We may, as adults, we may understand it better because we have things like income, which we'll talk about in another session. And we'll have ways in which we understand how to save and etc. But it really is a personal skill that benefits you throughout your entire life. And truly, that's what this summit and that's what the Youth Development Program in Antilles by extension is all about. We want to be able to give you the tools to be financially responsible, not just in adulthood, but from as young as you are right now. Because we want you to understand that financial literacy is something that is actually very important. It's equally as important as math and English and science and all of the subjects. Somebody said that they're studying 18 subjects in school. It's as equally as possible. But the benefit is that it is less technical as your subjects in school. So we oftentimes as adults stress about the importance of financial literacy. As I said, it's not something that we are taught in school, and we oftentimes when we go online, we don't get the type of information that we're looking for. The understanding of financial literacy and financial management as a concept is important for us in order for us in the YDP to help you gain an understanding of thrift and saving and spending habits. And it's our job in the youth program to give you these tools and to teach you how to manage your money responsibly along with your parents. Now, putting time into your financial development actually improves your financial health, thinking about the theme of the summit, building financial health for a brighter future. It improves that financial health and it improves your saving and spending decisions. When you establish those good habits early on in life, you are oftentimes more able to carry those habits into adulthood. So when you think of the rules the rules that you have to adhere to when you're home and when you're in school, you mustn't interrupt people when they talk. You mustn't get involved in other people's business. You have a set of rules and practices and morals and values to adhere to. And those are good habits that you carry on into your adult life. Now, especially when it comes to your saving habits, it makes you more able to be that financially responsible adult. We want you to be able to take the initiative, which is just to do it for yourself, to self-educate and to grow your financial knowledge. But we also know that sometimes it can be difficult to do that for yourself, especially at this age. And we also recognize that it might be difficult for some parents who may not have the understanding of financial literacy and financial management. And that's why we're here. We know that different concepts and tools and terminologies can be hard to understand, especially when you don't know what it is. And truly, that's one of the things that makes my job very fulfilling. We are able to take these tools in these technical ways and try to break them down and give you these tips and tricks to make them more easily digestible or make them more easily understood across the board from your grandparents to your parents to you to your little brother or sister. We are able to try to be able to break down those concepts and equip you with those tools to be financially responsible. Now, when we think about financial literacy, the first thing we think about is saving. So tell me, anybody can tell me what saving means? Anybody could raise your hand or you can unmute your mic. What does saving mean?
Save money.
Okay, saving is to save money, but what does it mean to save? Yes, Amisha.
Also, savings is when you actually have money put aside. So if you have an important thing to do and you have none, you could go and actually have, and when you get back your allowance, you could just put back from it. And there where your savings go start back to build up again.
Very good, very good. And that's exactly in a nutshell what it is. Saving, simply put, is essentially putting away some of what you have for later use. And in the concept of money, saving just means that if you get an allowance of $100 and you save 20 out of the $100, you want to spend the 80, sure, fine. But I would always advise you to save a piece of that $100. But we take that piece that you would have taken away from spending and you put it away so that you have it for later use. Now, when it comes to money, what do you think it means to spend? And I feel like we all know what it means to spend. I'm sure everybody knows what it means to spend. Somebody tell me, what does it mean to spend money? It might be difficult to define the term spending, right? We know what it is. We know what spending is, but to define it, it might be difficult. Anybody want to take a guess? Going once, going twice.
Sir, excuse, just repeat that question for me, please.
Sure. What do you think spending means when it comes to money? I see a hand raised. Go ahead.
Well, sir, I think spending means just using your money wisely on important things.
Okay. So spending really and truly just means to use your money to pay for something or to benefit something or someone. So you pay for goods and services. So when you think about goods and services, you think of, let me see if I can think of an example for you. So you want to buy a snack, right? Let's say a cheesies. A cheesies is $4 or $5. I can't remember. You want to be able to give the vendor that $5 to be able to get the cheesies, and that is what you call spending. Because you give the vendor the $5 for the cheesies and the vendor gives you the cheesies in return, that is what you call a transaction. That's what you call an exchange of money. So now that we've defined, for want of a better term, the terms saving and spending, tell me how you actually feel about saving. What do you think about saving? I know last week we said that some of us are excited and because some of us want to have really, really, really nice things. We want to own vehicles and we want to own properties and somebody want to own a company in Dubai. That was actually a really, really great goal that I think was that came out of the session. But tell us how you feel about saving. Do you think it's difficult? Do you think it's easy? Do you think we just don't know how to do it? Tell me. I see a hand raised. Go ahead.
Well, sir, I feel about saving. It is really important because of how, as I said, you would have money put aside. So in case if you need it, you have it already. And when you get back that allowance, you can just put it back. So basically, that is what saving is.
Okay, good. Does anybody else want to tell me how they feel about saving? Yes, I see a hand raised. Go ahead, Diamond.
Well, so I know saving is very difficult for some persons, and I am also, it's really difficult for me as well. But once I get in the habit of saving, it will become easier and more efficient for the future.
Very, very good. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else? Just one more person. How do you feel about saving? Just one more person. Anybody? Or if you all want me to tell you how I feel about saving, we could do that too. Yes, Christian, go ahead. Christian, your hand is raised.
So I feel happy about saving because how you can have something when you grow up.
Good, good, very nice. So I can tell you all how I feel about saving. I am very scared about saving, to be honest. I'm very, very scared about saving because oftentimes we, especially as adults, we know that we have things that we call goals. We have goals in mind. We have things we want to achieve and we have things that we want to do. And sometimes we may not be in the position to save as much as we can. And especially when we think of your ages, you don't have things like incomes and salary, and you don't have consistent money coming in. As adults, sometimes a lot of us are able to have those things come through when we are employed, we have jobs, or when we do things on the side. But sometimes we recognize that saving is not as easy as we think. Now, I want to contradict that narrative, even with me feeling scared about saving sometimes. Saving is actually very easy. The difficult part about saving, and somebody mentioned it just now, the difficult part about saving is developing the habit and making sure that you do it consistently and smartly. Because saving really takes three basic things. It takes commitment, which means that you have to want to do it and you have to do it consistently. It takes discipline, meaning that you have to be able to do it and you have to be sure that you want to do it and actually start to do it again on a consistent basis. And it also takes delayed gratification. Now, when you think about the term delayed gratification, I know that's a very big word and a very big term, but all delayed gratification is really the act of resisting an impulse to be able to take an immediately available reward in the hope that you get a more valued reward in the future. So thinking about buying the cheeses by the vendor, right? You know it's break time and you go in by the shop, you want the cheeses on a recess. If it is that you save that $5 today and your parents give you an allowance of $10 the next week, you have an extra $5 on top of the $10 that they give you to do something with it. So because you didn't buy the cheesies this week and you're saving to buy it next week, that's the concept of delayed gratification. And I want you all to remember something when you think about saving. The amount saved is important, but it's also not as important as getting into the habit. Because if it is, you have a goal in mind, and you save towards that goal, and next week we'll talk further about setting goals. When you save towards that goal and you achieve that goal, so let's say one of the goals is to go to school, to get a university education, and you've saved enough to do it, to afford it. When you do finish education, you think about what's next. And as we go into adulthood, there are different things that we cater for, different things that we get into. And again, we'll talk more about those concepts and those tools and those tricks as we go into next week's session. So I want to ask you a question. Thinking about the question that I asked last week, which was you won the lotto of $10 million. I want to break down that concept. And I want two people, preferably the new people, Deshaun and Deshaun. If I handed you $1,000 right now, $1,000, if I handed you right now, what would you do with the money?
I would save it to buy something that I really like.
Okay, and I want you to be honest too, right? So even if you don't want to save it, that's okay to say that you don't want to save it. If you want to buy a video game or a shoe, or if you want to go to a water park when things open up, you could let me know. This is a judgment-free zone. Right. So Deshaun said that he wants to save it. Deshaun, what would you like to do?
I would save it up for something that I need.
Okay. Good. I'm glad that you all are choosing to save the money. I'm really glad, because that's what we want you all to do. We want you all again to be smart and sustainable savers. We want you to think about your financial future. in terms of your financial realities. So let's talk about our personalities. Anybody could tell me in terms of defining what a personality is? Anybody could tell me what a personality is? It doesn't need to be a correct answer, but I just want to get the framework of how you think and how you feel. What do you think is a personality?
A personality is how someone behaves their unique way of behaving.
Good, good, yes. Amisha, I see your hand is raised as well.
Well, sir, I think a personality is the social environment that has a strong impact in your life.
Oh, well, okay. You're very smart. All right, Diamond, I see your hand is raised as well.
Personality is the way you present yourself and the way you behave and your attitude towards something.
I see. I have three very good answers. And you know the good thing about it? The definition of personality that I have, it takes into consideration those three contributions as well. So when we think of the definition of the word personality, it refers to a combination of characteristics, of qualities, of opinions, of behaviors, thought patterns, and oftentimes they are both inherent, meaning that it's things that we naturally do, and it's oftentimes things that are acquired as well, meaning that we are taught about it. And all of those things, those qualities, characteristics, opinions, feelings, etc., they are what form an individual's distinctive character. And like pretty much everything else in life, your response to money and your understanding of money and the habits of saving and spending is actually largely dictated by your personality. Everybody has ways they approach and understand money. Now, one of the things that we have done in the YDP is we've taken a step back and put ourselves, at least try to put ourselves in your shoes. Because we were your age ones and it shouldn't be that hard, right? We just know that when we were 10, 11, 12, 14, etc., we know what we wanted to do and we know what we had access to. And it should be easy, right? It shouldn't be that hard. That's wrong. A number of factors have changed since we were younger. Things like the economy, things like trends in saving and spending, even the standard of living, and your parents will understand what the standard of living is. So I want to encourage you to have conversations with your parents about what it means to be financially responsible as well. Because as much as we are giving you the tools, and as much as we are trying to give you the tools at least, and as much as we are discussing these things with you, we don't know what you go through every single day, and your parents will be better able to talk about it. And if it is that your parent can't necessarily talk about it, it's as simple as reaching out to us and we can sit with your parents and you and try to come up with a good, sound financial plan. We are really here and really invested in your financial health, not just you as children, but your family's financial health. Now, knowing all of the changes that we encountered since we were your ages, we have actually reassessed and aligned, and we've tried to understand you all better and to try to speak your language. And what we've come up with is that everybody has a different personality when it comes to money. And these are concepts that are not things that we came up with. Technically, we have identified the core saving habits of our members, and we have been able to link it to the development of these personalities. So the CNBC, they have 7 different personalities, but we have put it back down to 5 just to be able to make it more digestible. Amisha, you have one thing about personality to say?
Yes, sir. I just wanted to say that how personality is actually the way how you agree and disagree. So personality is actually what you see your parents doing is what you go do.
That's very good. And that term, agreeing and disagreeing, it really, when you think about money, and when you think about money and relating it back to your parents, it definitely has to do with some agreement and disagreement, because your parents would have a greater understanding of what some of the needs of money are, while you have ways that you think about the wants of money. And as we go into next session, we'll talk about needs and wants as well. So any character traits regarding money can really be classed into specific groups of personalities. And typically we fall into a combination of many types and not just one. But the key, however, is to find the type that most closely matches your behavior. So we have 5 types here: the compulsive saver, the compulsive spender, the moneymaker, the saver splurger, and the monk. Now, using definition of personality and using the 5 tips here the 5 personalities that we develop here, tell me, have you given much thought into how your views toward money kind of influences your saving behaviors? Or better yet, which one of the 5 you think you may be? Anybody? And I want you to be honest, huh? It's okay. It's okay if you say you're a spender, you like to spend money. That's not a problem. I see a hand raised. Go ahead.
Sir, I would say that how I would say I am a money maker because I actually have a piggy bank that I save coins in.
Oh, look at you. You're ahead of the game. Yeah. Okay, good. That's great. Anybody else? Gabriel, what you thinking? Which one you think you might be? And I know we haven't defined it, but
So I might be the compulsive saver because honestly, I don't really like to spend my money all the time.
Oh, okay, all right, cool. That's good. That's great. What about you, Dejon? Which one you think you might be?
I try to save up my money to buy something I want.
Oh, okay, I see. We have a lot of savers. All right, good. So we're going to start to take a look about some of the spending and saving habits that tell us about our personalities. So when we look at the compulsive saver, the fact of dedication and sacrifice, they are actually something that you practice. When it comes to money, you believe that everything has an order, and you believe that the best way forward is to make consistent growth by saving. So just as Gabrielle, I think it was Gabrielle, he said just now that she doesn't really like to spend her money, she prefers to save it. That is exactly the kind of traits that we have as compulsive savers. So in terms of our personality traits, thinking of the characteristics, the primary one, the most important one is that you are focused. You know that you don't like to spend money, or you have a specific thing you want to buy or do in the future in mind. And so you focus toward that goal. And secondarily, meaning that, there are other aspects of the personalities. You are organized, you're responsible, you are dependable, and you're trustworthy. So you see, sometimes these personality traits they intersect, meaning that they cross and they are separate parts to your general personality, who you are as a person, not just your financial responsibility. Your dedicated viewpoint. You have a very, very dedicated viewpoint to money. And sometimes people can mistake it for being narrow-minded, or you can be seen as stingy or selfish. But this is not actually true, because you have a goal in mind and you have specific efforts towards personal wealth, and you, because of that focus and that consistency towards maintaining that goal, the people in your life generally may not see it this way. So some of the signs that you might be a compulsive saver, you believe that saving money is the way to feel more secure in life. So when you become an adult, you want to be able to live, not just survive. And again, those concepts are a bit big, but you want to be able to have the things. You want to be able to own your own home and your own vehicle, and you want to travel, and you want to go back to school to get your bachelor's or your master's or your PhD or etc. And you really want to be able to achieve those goals, and it's going to give you a sense of safety and security in life, because if you start saving from now, which we advise, you would be able to easily afford it when you get older. Another sign is that you may put away money endlessly, meaning that you just do it consistently. So again, Gabrielle said that she doesn't really like to spend her money. She may do it on the basis of a monthly thing or a weekly thing or daily thing. It could be any one of the 3. But sometimes it may not have an actual goal and goal in mind. You just have money saying that, you know, you want to have money saved. And the other sign is that you are very frugal. And frugal means that you try not to spend a lot of money and you try not to be wasteful with your money. And truly, when you get older, because of that nature, that frugal nature, your friends may often come to you for advice on saving and things like deals and with discounts. Gabrielle, do you have something else to say?
Yes, as I would have mentioned, that I don't like to spend money. It's not exactly like that. I don't like to spend my money on little things like random things you'll just see. I would
Yeah.
prefer to save it for something bigger.
And I'm glad that you mentioned that, because that exactly is a personality type that we'll get further on. We'll get into later on. Good. So some of the things that we have to be careful of as compulsive savers. Sometimes we are so afraid of losing money that we go our entire life without spending anything, which we worked very hard to achieve for. For example, we might choose to not do any extracurricular activities that can actually bring us happiness and fulfillment because we are so concerned with using the money that we have saved. Now, it's smart. It's very smart to be aware of what can happen if you don't prepare for your future. But letting that worry and that anxiety over money can actually eat away at your happiness. And in the present moment, it may not be a good thing at some points in time. Now, this is not to say that saving is bad, because saving is a very, very good thing. But you oftentimes have to do things like set goals and establish time frames and etc. And remember, we're talking about saving and we're talking about setting goals next week. Amisha, you have a term to say what I'm talking about?
Yes, sir. I just wanted to say that how saving is best in life right now, because life is getting harder and your parents are always burning at you to get an education, because education is the hardest thing to get right now.
Thank you for sharing that. I really want to commend you for sharing that, because it is the truth. When you think about your education, you think long term, and you don't just think when you finish SEA and then finish CXE or CSEC in your cases, and then you finish CAPE. You want to think about university, and a lot of times we focus on the bachelor level, which is great, which is good. And sometimes when we do the bachelor levels, I can tell you for myself, when I was doing my bachelor's degree, I never had any intention to further my studies. But as I finished, I realized maybe I can do another degree, whether that's another bachelor's or another master's, or even go on to a PhD. And those terms itself are really big concepts. And if you want more information about it, I urge you to talk to your parents about it and do some research. But I know you all are quite young. Those of us who are older, 13, 14, 15, we may start to think about what we want to do when we finish school. I urge you to have those conversations with your parents, because it's really important to have some money saved in order to do things. So yes, I see here we have a comment in the chat. The term that my mother says is to take it and run with it. And that is a really great, really great point. When you save, to take it and run with it is a really great thing. Now, a bit of advice for the savers, the compulsive savers, it's all about moderation. What you have to do is you have to learn to find a balance between saving money and enjoying life. We want you to think about where you see yourself in the future and how you can use your savings to get there. So we're going to look at the compulsive spender. The compulsive spender has literally no other goal in life but experiencing things. So it's not really about attaining some specific numerical value, whether you want to save $50,000 or whether you want to save $1 million. It really is about having the experiences. You understand that there are things you want to have. You want to buy gifts for your friends. You want to buy gifts for yourself. You want to be able to afford things. You want to go on vacation and you want to spend on your loved ones, your friends, your family, etc. And you have an understanding that money is to be used for things, and you actually see no issue in spending at all. With this understanding of transactional nature of money and the feeling that experiences are the real passions in your life, it actually makes you an incredibly generous person and charitable to anyone in need. So when we think about identifying some personality traits, the primary one, the most important one, is that you are spontaneous. But other than that, you tend to be impulsive. You can be generous as well, and you're also independent, meaning that you don't necessarily see the need to depend on anybody or for anybody to do anything for you, especially when it comes to your money. Now, that may be difficult as children because you don't, again, as we mentioned, you don't have any source of income per se. You get an allowance from your parents. On your birthday, your grandma might send you a birthday card with $100 inside it, but you don't have consistent payment every month. So when you believe that money was made to be spent, you sometimes do suffer from things like impulsive or impractical purchases. So linking it to Gabrielle's point, in that she doesn't necessarily spend money willy-nilly. She doesn't spend it for what she thinks are some of the frivolous, that's a big term, but some of the unnecessary things. But that's not exactly the personality type that we're talking about now, right? That's exactly the kind of concept that we want to think about. So some of the signs that you might be a compulsive saver. You tend to spend money left, right, and center on things that you don't necessarily need, which is not a bad thing, but that lack of foresight or that lack of vision, that lack of focus, it presents a problem in that instance. As a person, you're generally an outgoing person. You love treating people to something special, and oftentimes, sometimes for no particular reason. So you might see chocolate, and you know your friend, let's say the chocolate is Cadbury, you know your friend likes Cadbury chocolate, and you say, you know what, maybe I'll buy this to my friend. I love Cadbury chocolate, to just say it. So if you all want to go up to the office, you can, right? Now, we want you all to be careful as well when you think of your spending habits, because compulsive spenders will oftentimes continue going on baseless shopping sprees. You might just shop, 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 and spend, 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 even if you have large amounts of debt in your future. And when it comes to your adulthood, you may even try to hide those large purchases from friends and family. And in some extreme cases, you can be at risk of going bankrupt, meaning that you end up having no money left. When you consistently spend more than you earn, there is the possibility that you spend more than you have or you have available, and it can lead you into further debt. So a bit of advice for the spenders: create a budget. We know that you want to spend on some things. You want to buy a gift, you want to buy something that you want. And again, those things are not bad, but creating a budget will give you a plan. And this plan will help you see things from a different perspective. When you remind yourself that buying something you already have, or when you spend money willy-nilly, it means sacrificing money on essential things like saving for retirement or paying off debt. So we really want you to be able to allocate your money. And again, in next week's session, we'll look at budgeting, and we'll also look at setting goals. So we really want you to be interested and incorporated in that session as well. Now, another tip for spenders is to shop a little less and save a little more. If you love to spend, it's very likely that you're going to keep doing it, but you probably should seek some long-term advice and some long-term value, not just short-term satisfaction. Before you spend money on something expensive or trendy or something you don't need, think about asking yourself how much that purchase is going to mean to you in some time, whether it is a month from now, 6 months from now, a year from now. Is it going to make you feel any differently, right? So the money maker, somebody said that they were a money maker earlier. You see opportunities as a money maker and you take them. When it comes to your money, you actually try not to miss any opportunity to increase your wealth. So when we think of the character traits, the primary one, the most important one, is that you are visionary. So I know we had set some goals early last week. We wanted to have the businesses, and we wanted to purchase cars and houses and properties and etc. That is exactly what a moneymaker is. Sometimes that property you purchase or that vehicle you purchase may be used to further your income. So if you want to put it on the road as a taxi, or if you want to have the property where you can rent to other people to bring in some income, that's exactly what the moneymaker is. And yes, it was Anisha who said it. you have a very big picture. You always see the big picture, and that positive thinking and that big picture view, it helps you not worry so much about money that oftentimes holds people back. So when we think about the different personalities so far that we've talked, we can clearly see that one of the clashing personalities, one that the moneymaker may not necessarily agree with, is the compulsive spender, because the compulsive spender wants to or sees no issue, for want of a better term, of in spending money. The moneymaker is interested in increasing their money, not just by saving, but by adding what we call supplemental income, which is just another form of money that you get. We can definitely see that there is a clash there. Now, some signs that you may be a moneymaker. You oftentimes believe that earning more money is the secret to happiness. And again, it's not just about saving, it's about earning that money. You spend most of your energy on trying to make as much money as possible, and you do get some pleasure from the approval and recognition from other people for your financial success. So if you were able to save $600 for yourself, and you tell your mommy, look, I have all of this money here, and your mommy says, wow, that is really good. I didn't know that you had it in you. I'm so proud of you, etc. That approval and that recognition of the fact that you would have saved this amount of money, and saving $600 is actually a really great achievement. When you get that approval and the recognition, you oftentimes feel really, really great. Now, we also want you to be careful. Every single personality type that we would have discovered, we want you to be careful as well. Money makers are usually on a strong path to achieving their financial freedom, but you can also enter into dangerous territory if you start neglecting the important relationships to prioritize growing your wealth. So again, looking back at the term personality, where it develops, it's developed by a sense of characteristics, thought patterns, feelings, etc. When you are so focused on generating wealth, again, which is not a bad thing, you oftentimes neglect the other relationships in your life. Now, a bit of advice, we want you to recognize that there is more to life than money. If you do have a sizable amount of money, we call it wealth, we want you to give it purpose, meaning that we want you to do things like help others. We want you to have a specific goal in mind for it. Whether it is that you donate to an important cause, and I remember that somebody said last week that they wanted to, with the 10 million, they wanted to give charity, which is really, really great. I think we should all definitely look at giving back to charity at some point in time, especially a cause that means a lot to you, something that is important to you. Or even if you want to treat yourself to like a vacation, when you get older, if you have children, or even if you want to take your parents on a trip to St. Lucia or Barbados or to Greece or any of the other countries in the world, those are the things that you can save for as a money maker. We want you to use that big picture view to present yourself with alternate views, meaning different views on the same situation. And we want you to continue educating yourself and to figure out exactly what will give you the best results. So now we have the saver splurger. And this is where I think a lot of us actually identify. And it could just be my personal opinion, but I genuinely believe that we all understand what it means to save, and we all understand what it means to spend. And I think we've discussed the definitions of saving and spending at length today, but understanding that it is equally as important because we understand how money is to be used, we oftentimes identify as a saver splurger. A saver splurger has an in-depth understanding of the concept of delayed gratification, meaning, again, we talked about it earlier, in terms of the saving concept, it is really just putting off immediate reward for future reward. You have that understanding of it, and you are willing to sacrifice your pleasure today to ensure comfort tomorrow. You are oftentimes realistic and conservative, but you can be impulsive as well. And your primary trait, the most important one, is that you are cautious. So this is the personality that I think Gabrielle identifies as. Gabrielle, do you think you are a saver splurger, or you think you are a compulsive saver?
Yes, I find this makes more so what I was explaining to you.
Exactly, because you understand that you have need for money, but you also understand that you want certain things in life, and it's not so much about being so strict with your money that you save again with no end goal in mind, but you have things in mind that you want to save for. So you want to go to school to become something. What do you want to study as an adult? What do you want to study further from TXT?
So honestly, I'm not quite sure.
And that's perfectly fine. I think you are very young to know it. If it is you want to be a nurse or a teacher or a lawyer or a doctor or a credit union employee, you start to think of those things as you get older. So it's okay to not know at this stage and at this age, but you do know that you want to go to school, right? I feel like you were one of the people who said that you wanted to save for education. Yes?
Yes, sir.
Good. So you have that goal in mind and you are saving towards that goal. Now, while long-term planning really gives you the security and the mental comfort that you need, if it's uncontrolled, meaning that you don't have a good hand on it, it can be the habit that causes you there. So some of the signs that you may be a saver splurger, you might share common traits between the savers and the spenders because you understand and get the nature of money. Gabrielle, you have something else to say?
Yes, sir. I was saying, even though I'm not sure exactly what I want to do when I leave secondary school or so on, I definitely know that I want to be an entrepreneur. So I would try to find a job that would help me to make money. So because if you need to be an entrepreneur, you have to have money to start off somewhere.
Great.
So I'll be willing to look for any kind of job to make money.
Good. And that is a really important point of view to have. And I want you to hold on to that because we're going to unpack that. We're going to talk about it a bit more when we get into setting goals next week. Right. So another sign that you might be a saver splurger is that you might start out saving a lot of money, but then sometimes you give into impulses to spend out of nowhere. So you know that you're saving for this goal in mind, but you end up going to the mall a day with your mom and you see a shoe you want to buy. You end up buying the shoe because you know what, you just need to have the shoe, and that is not a bad concept. That is actually something that's quite healthy. But where it becomes unhealthy is when you do it too often because you end up spending all of the money that you would have saved. Right now, we want you as well to be careful because it can be emotionally exhausting when you go between compulsive saving and compulsive spending because you oftentimes end up stressed and disappointed in yourselves for working so hard to save money only to lose it so quickly. But like the compulsive spenders, the saver splurgers rarely put thought into what they're spending time on. Before any big purchase, you oftentimes do a lot of research and you imagine how it might feel the following week or the following month. We don't want you to lose sight of your financial goals, and we don't want you to become so obsessed with saving that you ignore the personal pleasures in life. The tip for the saver splurgers is really and truly to keep up the good work. Financially speaking, you are doing a really, really, really great job, and you have an understanding of when to use your money and how to use it wisely. We want you to keep doing what you're doing and continue to educate yourself. And that really and truly just means knowing what you want, knowing what you want to do, and knowing how you are going to get it. The last personality type that we have identified is what we call the monk. You know what's important to you, and sometimes actually money is not on that list. You can be a bit disorganized, you can be a bit reactive, and you can be quite vulnerable. But what you are is free-spirited. You may have little to no interest in the pursuit of the management of money in your life, which I would strongly advise against because managing money is important as you get older. When it comes to you and your money, one of the key things for you is distance. You try your best to separate your life by handing over any responsibility related to money to anybody you think is capable, somebody that you trust. And as children, I think some of the times most of the times, that will fall to your parents. Any of the stress that involves money and the strains that come with it, it's not something that you want to be involved with. And you generally believe that whatever happens, happens. And this sometimes happens because I think when we are compulsive savers, sometimes when we don't have that end goal in mind, we oftentimes become desensitized to the nature of money. But we want to be able to let you know that it is important to understand all of these personalities, and it's also important to think about your financial health and your financial futures. So some of the signs that you might be a monk, you rarely, RARELY, you don't think about money as often, and just the idea of creating a budget makes you very, very uncomfortable, because you don't see money as, you see it as important, but you don't see it as something so important where you have to manage it so strictly. And sometimes in extreme cases, you can believe that money is either bad or it might be evil, but you also feel that money strongly should not influence your important decisions in life. You see the value in personal connections, you see the value in advancement, and you see the value in being the best version of your possible self. Now, many people who identify as monks, they are indifferent to money, and they feel that they only need a modest amount of money, a small amount of money to be happy. And that's a healthy mindset when you think about it. However, things can get a bit ticklish or a bit ugly if they are not responsible with your finances. So if you depend on your parents for the entirety of your life, or if you depend on, when you get older, a partner or spouse to do the work of managing your money for you, it can become very difficult in the relationships that you have. So the goal, a bit of advice when it comes to this personality type, the goal is to be what we call introspective, meaning that we want you to look within yourselves and think about it. And we want you to be able to be strict with any financial risks that you take. Balance and security are very, very important, so that you start to set aside monthly savings before making any big financial decisions. Because like the compulsive spender, because you don't see the importance, for want of a better term, of money, you can make frivolous or unimportant purchases. So when we think about our personality types, I know that we had discussed some earlier, but knowing all of these types now, which one do you think you identify with? Anybody could start.
So I am a saver splurger.
A saver splurger, good. I mean, sure, I see your hand is raised.
So I am the money maker.
Okay, you were the one who said you were the money maker before, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. So even knowing all of the personality types, you still believe that you're the money maker, which is good. You have a strong sense of self. That's good. Yes, Christian, next.
So I am a compulsive saver.
Compulsive saver. Okay, good, good. Anybody else?
So I am a compulsive saver.
A compulsive saver. Good, good. One more person. I don't think I heard somebody. Anybody else, or that was everybody? Stay short. Stephen, are you there? All right, that's fine. That's no problem. I know some people might be shy. It's all right. Now, we would have all identified a primary person, but do we think that we can all be all of the things at once?
No, sir.
You don't? Tell me why. I see a hand raised. Christian, go ahead.
So I think I could be everything at the same time.
Okay. Why? Why you think that is? It's okay to tell me you don't know either. It's all right. If you don't know, if you feel like you can be, but you don't know how, that's fine as well. I see some hands raised. Go ahead. Amisha, you had your hand first.
So, well, I basically think I can't be all the personalities one time because of how I can't manage all them things. I have a tendency of not managing everything.
And that recognition is important. Diamond,
So I feel I am all of these things because I love spending money. I love saving it. I love making money. I love to share with people. I am mostly everything here.
Oh, that is a very nice thing to have. So personalities themselves are varied, and it's a combination of characteristics. Thinking of definition from before, it's the combination of characteristics or qualities that form your distinctive character. Um, when you think about a superhero, so the first one that comes to mind is Superman. Superman has powers of flight and super strength and X-ray vision and heat vision, super speed, and invulnerability, meaning that he's very strong and he doesn't hurt easily. All of these things make him who he is as a superhuman, right? When you think about your personality type, all of them intersect, meaning that they cross, meaning that you have different aspects of each personality in. And as I mentioned earlier, you may identify with one specifically, but it's important to think that you may be able to identify us all at some point in time because things may change. As you grow older, you may make a lot of money or you may not make a lot of money. You may have a good sound financial start, meaning that you've saved in Antilles since you were in preschool, and when you finished education, you continued saving throughout your life. So you saved through preschool, through primary school, through secondary school, and through university, and you would have saved a large sum of money. And when you start to work, you would have been able to access some of those money. So you were able to figure out how to use your money, right? All of those things make up your personality, and all of those things make up how you view money. So to recap today's session, just want to ask a couple questions. I know we've talked about a lot, and I know some of the concepts and the things may be a bit difficult to understand. But if you remember that we provided you with a toolkit, you can always refer to it. It will have been sent to you or your parents via email. You can always look at it. And we will be sending some more activity sheets for you as well. So anybody can tell me. We've talked about all of these things for the day so far. Somebody, one person, tell me what financial literacy is in your own words. Yes, Amisha.
Well, sir, as I said, I think financial literacy is how you manage your money, how you think about saving it and spending it, and how you actually grow and manage your business.
Good, good. Diamond, your hand was raised second.
So is the attitude towards saving, spending, and yeah, the money.
Good. Gabrielle, I see your hand is raised as well.
So it's just basically a way of knowing how to manage and save and also spend the money. All the different types of using your money, just knowing how to manage it.
Very good, very good. I love that you all are smart. So remember, the theme of the summit is creating smart and sustainable savers. You all are definitely showing the smart. And I feel as we go forward in the next 2 weeks, we will start to look and understand how we can be smart, but also sustainable. Great, great, great. So we would have identified what is saving. And somebody tell me, we identified a number of many personality types. How many we identified? Diamond, your hand was raised.
5.
5, good. You can tell me the 5 offhand?
Compulsory saver, compulsory spender, a saver splurger, the monk, and
what's the last one? Anybody can help out with the last one? Amisha, I see your hand.
It's the money maker.
Nicely done. It's the money maker. Great. So when we started to talk about financial literacy, we said that we have different views about money, and we all have thoughts and feelings about money, and they are largely shaped by what? Anybody can tell me what they're shaped by? How we see money? How
Personality, sir.
Very good. We shaped by our personality, but even then, we think about our beliefs, we think about our thoughts, we think about our feelings and emotions, we think about our life experiences. Great, great, great. I love the participation that we have been having these last few weeks. I'm really excited as we go forward into these rest of sessions. So now is the time where we have come to question and answer. So anybody have any questions that they want to ask? I can't promise that I will answer the question in the best way possible, but I can try my best to answer them for you. And speaking of that, I remember there was a question last week I needed to correct myself. Somebody asked last week when we talked about the development of credit unions, especially of Antilles Credit Union, somebody had asked which was the first credit union. And I actually answered the question incorrectly. The first credit union was actually not St. Stephen's Credit Union. And I can tell you why I said that. I was actually on a message with another colleague from St. Stephen's Credit Union, so I just said it. The first credit union is actually Health Services Credit Union, and they were registered in 1949, same time as us, because that's when the registration of credit union started. It's Health Services Credit, and they have rebranded. I don't know the name at the point in time, but I remember that I had to correct myself there, so I'm correcting myself there. And now I open the floor for any questions we may have about today's session. If you have questions about last week as well, we can talk about it. Anybody have any questions? Going once. Going twice. So we all good. We all okay. We all want to go and play or study or eat or do something, right?
Yes.
All right, good. That's no problem. That's no problem. All right. So next week we're coming we're moving swiftly along, and we're almost at the end. I know asking for you all to come here every Saturday for an hour, maybe an hour, 15 minutes by my count here. I know it's a lot to ask of you, but I want to thank you all so much for continuing to participate, and thank your parents for encouraging you to participate. And I want you all to continue to reach out to us and to continue coming to the sessions so that we can continue to equip you with the tools. I see we have one question in the chat.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to know, when it comes to the credit union and you have to put the money into your savings account, does it, who does it go through from?
Say that again for me.
Sir, I meant like when you come, it is directly you have to directly go to the person who you have to get the who does put the money into the credit union or no?
Oh, okay. So I think you're asking who do you come to when you go into the office to make a payment, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in the office, I don't know if any of you have been to the office, but maybe you should ask your parents to come with you one day so you can see what it looks like. In the office, when you enter the lobby, there are 3 windows. There's the information desk, there is the second window, which is the youth development program, and then there's the last window, which is the cashier. You come to the second window as children, your account is in the youth development program, so you come to the second window, and we are able to take your money there. We'll place it on the system for you, we'll issue a receipt, meaning that once you put in money, you'll get a record saying that you deposited this money on this day, and it will also show you information, your address, your account number, and the balance that you have, and you will be able to get all of the information from us there. Did that answer your question?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Thank you for asking. And again, if it is that you want to ask your parents to come, now, even if it's just to make a trip and say hi, to deposit $5, to deposit $10, to deposit $10,000, whichever one you want, you can do that as well, because I think it would be great for you to get a feel of the office itself, the premises itself. So great, thank you for that question. Do we have any other questions before we go on? Before I let you all out? No? All right, good. So next week at 10 a.m., same time, same place, we delve further into financial literacy by looking at saving and budgeting. We would look at the fundamentals of money management. So we're going to give you some tips there. And we also talk about setting proper financial goals. Great. So With that being said, I would like for you all to enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Thank you all so much again for being here. I'm really happy by the participation that we received. And for the new people as well, thank you all for coming on. I hope to see you all next week because we have 2 more weeks of really exciting, at least for me, we have really exciting content to deliver you all to deliver to you all. And we are excited to continue growing this bond that we have. Okay, great. So with that, I want to wish everybody a great Saturday. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye, sis.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
sir. Enjoy the rest of your day and
You
hope to
too.
see you next week, Saturday.
Yes, once you hear, you will see me. I promise you that.